Hi, welcome to Digital Explained to My Mom, the podcast that cuts through the marketing wow. My name is Sultan Simlali. I'm a business consultant passionate about marketing and technology. A couple of months ago, I had a hard time explaining to my mom what I was doing in my day job. I struggled so much that she politely said, interesting. Would you like more coffee? Talking about an experience with friends and colleagues, I realized that I was not alone. This is why I have decided to go on a quest. Find a marketing professional that will be able to tell me who they are, what they do, in words my mom would understand. Enjoy the show. Today I'm meeting Robin Leonard, CEO and co-founder of AFDigital. AFDigital was founded by Robin and Pauline Pangan. They are a Salesforce Gold Consulting Partner, an agency that is specialized in customer journey. They balance technology consulting alongside creative services, and they operate across APAC with offices in Auckland, Sydney, Singapore, and Manila. They work with major Asian and global brands such as Qantas, Nikon, Revlon, NBN Australia, Singtel, Salesforce, Malaysia Airlines, and Audi, to name a few. I'm very excited to have you on the line today, Robin. Congrats on your achievements.
Hey, I'm great. Thanks. Really happy to be on your podcast.
Thanks for being here. Robin, for the people that don't know you, who are you?
I'm just a humble Kiwi, I guess. That's a hard question to answer. I guess my professional background before starting the business was like a business analyst or a management consultant. And that was really kind of in between marketing, technology, customer service, BI. I was always kind of the middleman in the business requirement, working at companies like Vodafone. So that I guess was my professional background. But then I've always been very entrepreneurial, and that kind of led to starting the business in the Philippines a few years back.
That's very impressive. So what brought you from working in corporate life up to starting your own business?
Yeah, good question. I guess I always had the vision to be an entrepreneur. I started my first legal entity when I was about 21 years old, I think. I had this idea to become like a marketplace for a supply chain for small businesses, so buying office stationery, etc. Just had this idea, and at the time, there was no such thing as a marketplace. But I ran the idea through a lot of people, and it was too hard. But I was like, okay. So I went back to work. But I always knew I had something, like I wanted to do something a little bit different. When it actually happened, it just fell into place. Like I didn't really plan to start a business. I was in the Philippines consulting for IBM, and my contract ended naturally. And so at the time I was like, well, what should I do? Should I leave the country and go on to my next consulting contract, or should I stay and create something? And at the time I had a partner, Pauline, and she, together we created AFDigital in the Philippines, and it kind of just has gone on from there. That was about 7 years ago.
Wow. So in about 7 years, you went from corporate life to creating a business in the Philippines, and now moving to Australia, but still having operations in the Philippines?
Yeah. So we've got a delivery center based in Manila, Philippines, and that's where we started the business initially. But I've since moved down to Sydney, and Pauline also, she's moved down here just very recently. I've been here for about 2 years, running the office here. And so the business is very much, a lot of the heavy lifting is done in the Philippines, but it's really guided onshore in Sydney by our team here. We've also got an office as well in Singapore. So we're really servicing ASEAN markets. And there's just so much demand. There's not enough partners that are trying to help the ecosystem.
Which is a great chance for you.
Yeah. It's very much a timing thing, And I think, like Steve Jobs he has that kind of famous address to the university, his speech where he talks about not really knowing what you're doing, or it's only after you've kind of gone to where you are looking back you realize why you did those things. It all kind of culminated, and that's been it for me. Like, I've very much done a lot of different things in my life, and right now my business is very aligned with me, all of my history.
Yeah, the Steve Jobs address, I remember. I think it was the Stanford 2005 commencement speech, and it was very impressive. And looking back, you see that what you did in the past has an impact on what you do today.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even, a core part of my career was working at Vodafone in the call center. I was a call center agent for 2 years. After dropping out of university, I dropped out of an engineering degree a year in, and was like, I just don't I don't see myself doing engineering, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I worked at Vodafone, and, I really loved that job. But after that, the experience I gained in the contact center has really, even up until today, I use that because we do a lot of social customer service. So every engagement, I bring that knowledge back in, and at the time, I had no idea that would be relevant in my future.
Yeah, that resonates completely with me as well, because I grew up in a shop. My mom had just a small shop where you just had to help, and people needed milk or other kind of products, and you just worked there every day. But you learn to interact with people, and you learn to see which issues do they have, how do you connect with them, how do you talk with them, and how can you be meaningful for them. And when I was studying economics, I realized that the whole theory thing was maybe not the most exciting, but everything around people is. And I see that I apply those skills every day in my job.
I think actually on that, it's a lot of it, I think, is empathy. I think empathy is so key in everything that businesses do today. But you don't learn the empathy until you've felt the pain of the customer. And working in a shop where you kind of have to deal with customers and their daily complaints, you learn how to empathize with them. So, when you're, I guess, a bit further removed from the front line, you're still thinking from a customer perspective.
Yeah, that's true. But how do you translate that into your company, especially when you're in B2B? How do you manage to empathize with customer at scale?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question, Sultan. It's hard, and it's hard when you scale a business to have that that same amount of human touch and personalization with your employees and their relationships with your customers. I've always thought that if you keep your employees happy, then they'll keep your customers happy. And then aside from that, it's really just having a culture and, I guess, demonstrating the behaviors that they should also show. If I'm not empathizing and giving my customers good service, then my staff won't. I guess that's kind of how I've done it. We've got some really cool values as well. Like, we always talk about living in a no blame culture. And iterating, like applying agile thinking and iterating problems rather than kind of getting upset about them. Because it's just, the world is moving too rapidly to focus on why things went wrong instead of just, moving on and fixing them.
Yeah, that's a good example on how values can be the cornerstone for a successful business.
Yeah.
So during the preparation, you explained that you were a unicorn. So I first thought, they're $1 billion company. But I think you meant something different.
Yeah. It's a bit embarrassing. Yeah, we're not that kind of unicorn, although maybe, but no, we're just a humble services business. No, we're what I meant by unicorns is, and this is with my staff, this is kind of how I talk to them, is really around having a diverse set of skills. And it's also like, even traditional agile and IT, they used to talk about having like multi-skilled, highly skilled, small agile teams. It's the same thing in today's world of marketing. The thing is, a marketing team requires so many different skills to operate all of the different aspects of it these days. It's not how it was before, where you had a designer and a copywriter and then you gave it to your ad agency to publish on TV or billboards. Now it's like there's just so many channels to operate, and they're changing all the time. I mean, very well, Sultan, even specializing in technology, it can take years to master one platform to use to do marketing well.
Yeah, but not all companies, unfortunately, can have the luxury of a startup where they can start with a blank sheet.
Exactly. And so when I talk about unicorns, it's like a lot of companies will have a budget for like one digital marketing manager. And they're like, okay, this guy's going to solve all my problems. The thing they don't realize is they expect him or her to be a unicorn by having all of those skills. But in reality, they will probably be a 25-year-old with a few years experience and a few aspects of the whole digital marketing picture that they would have touched, let alone mastered. So that's really where we come in as unicorns, because it's kind of we've got a bank of skills, in our delivery center in the Philippines, and we're building an army of them, all with the skills and the kind of ability to run all of these aspects of digital marketing. So we're kind of, and this is what I tell my team, I'm like, we're trying to be unicorns. It's not about having lots of different people with different jobs. It's about having lots of people that know lots of different jobs, and that are willing to try. And that's what I think are unicorns.
Yeah, so unicorns are beings that know a lot of different jobs and have a lot of different set of skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. And very much like me, like I'm no way a graphic designer at all. And I'm no way a software developer. I'm kind of in the middle, and I kind of categorize myself as that, where I can do a bit of design and I can configure a Facebook ad campaign. Like I've got a bit of technology power. I can go into Salesforce CRM and add a new object and do a little bit of administration there. And that's really what I see as unicorns, is people that can do a bit of everything, because that's the most useful person to any organization in this kind of technology revolution.
Yes, and some people talk about a T-shaped kind of profile.
A T-shaped person?
Yeah, so if you look at the shape of the letter T, it means a very broad set of skills at the top and one specialty or one domain where they have really deep expertise.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's right. And they're really useful in kind of agile projects, because you can, there's always a lot of different tasks to be done, and anyone can pick anything. And, any digital marketer should be a good writer. It's just a core skill set. So it's like that's a foundation. But aside from that, they should have a good eye for design. And I design my own Facebook ad campaigns and my own Google AdWords and write my own articles. And I hope that my staff also embody that passion for learning and the practice of the art of digital marketing.
It's great to see the excitement and the passion you have. And I think it will drive me now to get to writing directly. So the podcast is called Digital Explained to My Mom. So does your mom know what you do? How did you explain to her? And maybe how would she explain to her friends what her son is doing?
Oh, yeah, I think she knows, but they generally glaze over a little bit when I tell them. My dad is an accountant, though, so if I talk about finances, he gets it, and then he's like, yep, good job, son. But no, I think they kind of describe it, I think, as like I do stuff with Facebook and marketing. Yeah, it's a hard one, when I describe it, because I also it sounds a little bit creepy when you describe it. So the way I describe it to them is, when you're interacting, like say you do a little bit of like online shopping, or you're researching to buy a new barbecue, and then suddenly you see the barbecue flashing up on your Facebook and in your email everywhere. That's what I do. And they're like, And I'm like, yeah, it's really creepy. You know, all the way through, we're trying to capture data about you to understand if you're likely to buy, and then we're targeting you for the next as long as we can. Yeah, so they're like, oh, it feels a little bit uneasy, but it's kind of cool as well, you know. Like someone's got to do that job. Yeah, but
it's not that bad.
Sorry,
I think it's not that bad.
No, I think it's really awesome. I think it's really exciting. Yeah, and it's great. Like I often tell them about, because we do a lot of social listening for clients, and there's always really interesting stories that come up around, you know, like we're doing for Revlon, we're listening in for trends around Korean beauty, and what we found was that Korean male pop stars drive lip color for lipstick in Asia, like, and specifically in Thailand. That's where, like, if a male Korean, they will selfie with a Revlon lip color, and that will show up in Thailand as a huge spike. It's really interesting.
Really amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. So things like that, they're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. I think they kind of wrap their head around it a little bit. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think money speaks louder than words, you know.
So if you meet someone who's 18, finishing school or struggling with their studies, what would be the advice you give them?
Oh yeah, this is really easy. So you just have to pick a platform, pick a technology, and learn it, and just make sure that technology is it's going in the right direction. And you could pick any of them. You could pick Microsoft, Adobe, Salesforce. I wouldn't say Oracle, to be honest. Any of the others, but you know, any of those platforms, Google as well. Pick any of them and just learn them. Like, just go through. They've got all of them. They've got free online certifications, and there's like so much knowledge to be gained. And I tell my staff this. You know, when I talk to my staff, I say you can change your stars. Which is it's kind of a reference to Heath Ledger movie, The Knight's Tale. I don't know if you remember that, where he changed from being a Thatcher's son to a knight, you know, and he just kind of embodied what it took to be a knight. Anyway, so
no, that's a great example. I love this movie, and the soundtrack is amazing.
Oh yes, it is a good soundtrack. Yeah, such a good movie. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, like, and you can literally double your salary in 12 months if you go through and do the learning, like sit the exams, get the certifications. You're way more employable, and it literally double it. So I'm kind of like, you can change the stars. If someone in the Philippines, especially, you know, close to my heart, if they have come from, you know, a non-privileged background, and they're often the breadwinner for their family, you know, sending money back to their family and earning a meager salary, they can quickly escalate their earning potential, and then they can go work overseas because there's so much demand globally for this. And then suddenly it's like they're earning like crazy money in Sydney, you know, and they were earning a tenth of that.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's what really drives me. You know, I think the change of this technology it's opening up so many doors for people that didn't have that. And you don't need a college degree to do this. You know, you can do this when you're 10 years old if you wanted. That's true. Like almost quit school today and just focus on technology, because it's I probably shouldn't say that. But
I'll take it as a quote.
Agree, Sultan? Like, don't you think that maybe traditional education is a bit slow for how quickly things are moving today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard for education system nowadays to cope up with the speed of technology. On the other hand, we need a set of skills that need to remain forever, such as reading, mathematics, and other skills. But it's a very complex matter. So, Robin, you'll be speaking very soon at Dreamforce. I think in a couple of days you'll be speaking at Dreamforce in San Francisco. So, can you tell us more about it?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to be at Dreamforce on the Thursday, if anyone's there, at 4 p.m. In Park Central Hotel. I'm going to be talking about running a digital marketing practice powered by Salesforce. So it's very much, because we've been very much a digital marketing practice running that for clients, but also a Salesforce partner as well. So it's a bit of a kind of a unique position, but it's becoming one that's becoming more common. I think there's a lot more partners out there that are marketing and CX oriented and less about just core Salesforce technology.
Okay, so really about how you set up your operations then.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to cover off, how we use Salesforce for email marketing, how we use it for social, how we use Salesforce for advertising, like one-to-one advertising, which is really exciting. Just kind of giving an insight into how to run the actual digital marketing practice, because, a lot of companies, as they invest in the Salesforce or any marketing technology, they're learning how to be a digital agency again, going back to the foundation.
Yeah. It sounds like a very interesting session, and I hope that many of the listeners will be able to attend it. For all the others, how can they connect with you and get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the best way is probably LinkedIn. Feel free to look for me on LinkedIn, Robin Leonard. Otherwise, my Instagram or Twitter, Robin_AFD. Always very happy to connect with anyone and increase my network.
Okay. Thank you so much, Robin. We'll add all those links to the show notes and on the website. And I really want to thank you again for taking the time. I wish you all the best of luck at Dreamforce and hope to speak to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Sultan. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Digital Explained to My Mom, the podcast that cuts through the marketing wow. If you like the podcast, please rate it with 5 stars on iTunes or the podcasting app you use. Remember that sharing is caring, so feel free to share with your friends and colleagues. You will find the show notes on our website, digitalexplainedtomymom.com. I'm looking forward for your feedback, ideas, and more. So let's connect on LinkedIn. My name is Sultan Simnali, or on Twitter, where I go by the name of Sultanology. The music you have heard is from bensound.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.